I mean, it starts with our frame of mind, right? Like it all starts with our frame of mind. It all starts with how we think about this issue, right? Um, how we think about anti-racism work, right? Is anti-racism work just a another movement, another, this is just excuse me, it's something I can get behind, but it might not be any different than some other movement, right? And yet I believe at the heart of so many genocides and ethnic cleansings and conflicts, underneath it is racism. Period. Period. It is not the same as as other movements, and it isn't to diminish other work that is necessary, to to put people on, let's say, equal playing fields, to get rid of the prejudice, or to combat the prejudice, and the very real effects that that has on people's lives, but to understand that this dichotomy of us versus them lies at the heart of I mean, you could probably say almost any conflict, right? I mean, how could one even fathom that racism is not at the heart of Zionist genocide and occupation and ethnic cleansing, when the whole goal of that movement is to establish Jewish supremacy in that land? That fundamentally is a racist movement, right? Because it pits others against a group of people as not worthy, as less than, as not even human. We have all these social media posts and people wondering, how can a soldier shoot a 10-month-old in the head? That's not an accident. That soldier lined up that gun, pointed it at that child's skull, and shot. And there are soldiers that are proud of what they did, because they don't see Palestinians as human beings. They're animals who deserve to just be to have no dignity of life. Tell me that's not racism.
Oh,
Tell me
100%.
that tell me that the movement against that genocide and occupation and ethnic cleansing isn't anti-racism work. It 100% is. It 100% is. And people need to realize that. It's not a
Yeah.
conflict between two peoples. It is a settler colonial movement with with racism, putting one people above another at its heart. That's what it is.
Yeah. And that nugget of wisdom that you're just giving us there, it became poignant to me in one of my racism discussion group round robin discussions. A woman came, and it was shortly after um, October 7th, when things popped off a lot more. Um, and she came to my open discussion group, and she was telling me a story. She was actually an immigrant to Israel, okay? And she lived in Israel for just shy of a decade. And she talked about a time when there was a curfew for Palestinians in her area that she was living. And there was a young Palestinian boy, 16-year-old boy, who got stranded. I think a vehicle broke down or something, and he couldn't get out in time to abide by the curfew. And some people who were her relatives or who were her friends, I can't remember, but they kind of forced him into her living quarters to hide him. And she said that she was scared to death. And She said for about an hour, she was just terrified, kind of just not knowing what to do. They couldn't communicate. But then what she said, little by little, they started finding ways to communicate. And she wondered if he was hungry. So she offered him some food and they ended up eating together. And and then she was coming to the end of her story. And she says, and that's when I realized that he was actually a human. And that was literally the point of her story, is her realizing that a human was a human. So when I heard her tell that story with such sincerity and you know, I was just I was like, that's all I need to hear. You know, like, I mean, that someone would first of all experience that, not be able to look at another human being as a human, even, you know, for how much time, like, it takes you a certain amount of time to be with them, to realize that they eat like you eat, they breathe like you breathe, they fear like you fear, they love like you love.
Yeah.
Like, you had to go through a whole experience with someone, and it took some time for you to come to that realization. That's what made me realize a couple things. One, the power of the propaganda that's going on over there, where someone who's not even a native, you know, like, you came over there yourself, and you came down with those beliefs in that short amount of time. That is insane. Um, and uh, and also just, um, how sad it is that some of us have to go around knowing for sure that our fellow citizens, that our fellow countrymen, that our fellow humans look at us as something other than they are, as something lesser than they are. It's just, it's so pathetic. And, you know, it's, I just, I can't understand how we've come this far, you know, in terms of technological advancements, in terms of, knowledge that we've gained, in terms of, the societies that we've built, the ability to travel across seas, the ability to communicate across borders. And here we are, and we're still struggling for some people to recognize other people's humanity. It can be very disheartening. It can be very, it can put people in a sense of despair. And I think it's another reason why people don't choose anti-racism, and why people don't choose, to stand up for their values, you know. Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour long unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support, and see you next time.